Hey folks, man, this is Monk and we are back with another episode of Classics of Cinematics, and I'm joined as always by my co-host. We got Bobby Blockbuster.
Yo.
Yeah, folks, man, we're going to hit you with a comedy today, and we're going to be talking about the classic RocketMan from 1997. And this film was directed by Stuart Gilliard. It stars Harlan Williams, William Sadler, Bo Bridges, Jessica Landy, and I don't know what the monkey's name was.
In real life or in the movie?
No, the actor, the monkey. What's his stage name?
In the movie his name's Ulysses.
Okay.
But in real life I don't know.
And the monkey
he's going uncredited.
Okay. Yeah, man. So in this film, an accident-prone and obnoxious geek joins a NASA space mission to Mars. During the flight, he manages to put himself and the entire crew in jeopardy, but is in danger of emerging as a hero when his new colleagues need him to save them from the unforgiving surface of the red planet. I don't know why they wrote that he's in danger of emerging as a hero. Isn't that a good thing?
It's not dangerous.
Yeah.
Like,
who's writing this stuff, internet guys?
Come on.
I will say, man, my first impressions of this film, man, I did remember I had this on VHS back in the day, and it was one I would throw on and just quietly chuckle throughout. You know, you feeling down or whatever, you just trying to pass some time. Like, I don't like rewatching it now. I don't think it's gut busting funny. Maybe the first time you watch it, there's some stuff like that, but this is one that genuinely keeps a smile on your face. It reminds me, we were talking earlier, of the Ernest type films, man.
Yes.
You know, that was coming out.
The man-child that's trying to do grown-up things and navigate through an adult world, adult situations, but with a childlike innocence. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And like you said, like this is definitely, it's a feel-good movie. I feel like it has high entertainment value, but it's fun for all ages, you know what I'm saying? Because it's all this lighthearted humor wrapped around a surprisingly good plot and premise. Mm-hmm. I mean, when you really dig into this story, it's layered enough to keep it interesting, but just the character dynamic of what we get from Harlan Williams really, really brings the funny. And just like like I said, a lighthearted kind of way, which is really awesome to see.
Yeah, we get a couple films matched together. I feel like this is part Apollo 13.
Absolutely.
It's got some just campy space stuff, man, that we were seeing at the time, but mixed around into this cool comedy, man.
We get a little Total Recall.
Yeah.
Because they go to Mars. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, a little bit of that. I mean, so essentially our main character here, Fred, played by Harlan Williams, man, he gets called in to fix this, to help with the space program, man. They're having issues with the software, you know, they bring him in to
allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. Allegedly, man. So it comes to find out that it's actually human error, you know, and they recruit him because he seems to be the only one that can figure it out, which leads to a bunch of crazy stuff, man. I love William Sadler in here. William Sadler's a great actor, man. Like, he's really one of the quiet sleepers, man. And he's great as our main astronaut who has to take a side seat to this guy who doesn't know anything about astronauting or space or anything.
I mean, William Sadler, he as what's his name, Wild Bill Overbeck. You know, he put the work in. He's been on 8-9 missions, you know, and he is, you know, captain of the crew and the ultimate like tight ass because he is so disgruntled with the course of events and how they're taking place. He's like, this dude is not an astronaut. Mm-hmm. He's almost like he's getting a free ride. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we're putting his car in neutral and pushing him down the hill, and that's not cool.
Like, I got shot down in Nam, and now I got to listen to this jerk.
Yeah, exactly. and this, like I said, he is a man-child of all sorts. But what I like about Harlan Williams is he's funny, like his banter, because when they actually go to his office and they're looking at the program and everything, he's like, oh yeah, I see what the problem is. Let me enter in these calculations. And he was like, I'm gonna do it what I like to call the right way, and you know what I'm saying. And I mean, he's just blasting this other astronaut, and you know, it's cool to see that because he's doing it. Not with malicious intent. He's just doing it because that's just how he is. Yeah. But it's also
he's in his element now. They're in his realm. Like,
yes, they're in his world.
He's the expert
all the way. Yes. And you know, another thing that I really thought was cool when it comes to this story arc is that the film starts with us seeing young Fred Randall as a child, you know, playing make pretend as an astronaut, jumping into the dryer and you know, doing all these things. And what it really does is it sets the tone for the movie right off rip that, as we go 23 years later, that, this character, Fred Randall, he always, he stuck to his dreams. He never stopped chasing his dreams, and he never lost his love for space science. You know what I mean? So that was really cool, because as we see him as an adult, even though, mentally he's just smarter than the average bear, but still...
You don't got the social skills like that.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, it's like you see a lot of similarities from that childhood clip to him as a man. But one thing that reigns true was his passion for his job, and I thought that was really cool that they established that fact. Yeah. And another crazy thing is the UK version. They edited that part out because they were afraid that kids would try that at home.
That is wild, man.
Yeah.
But it's also cool because you see his love for his space and comes in handy later whereas he doesn't have the training that these other guys has, but he has the knowledge about how things, work, out there scientifically to come into play and help, later on when the mission, gets in jeopardy. But it's fun, man, watching that whole thing. I especially love the stuff that he's doing where he's being trained.
Yes,
and the people are, they're dealing with, the stuff like, especially I like Wild Bill over this. He's trying to get him to wash out. He's even making it harder, and somehow this guy keeps stumbling up. Like he keeps failing upwards and
falling up the steps. Yes, you're right. And while he's doing that, he's also breaking all of Wild Bill's records. You know what I'm saying? So he is overly excelling at all of these things, and he's doing it with this glee, this joy that you would see as a young one at an amusement park or something. I mean, he is really like living his dream. And the training scene is great. I love it, especially when we get to the part where he's in the ISO chamber. Yeah. Because it just shows that you can tell he was a lonely child too, because he has no problem entertaining himself, which also everything that we see in the training montage, be it the ISO chamber or, the spinning real fast out of control or the, working the computer switchboard, all of it plays a part later on in the film in real life. You know what I'm saying? Like this dude, like he wasn't in danger of becoming a hero. He was on the verge of becoming a hero and then excelled as one.
Yeah, man. It's cool, man. It's cool. It's definitely one of the highlights of the films. Other cast members, shout out to Jessica Lundy, who also is assigned with this mission with him. And it's funny because, he's got a little crush on her, you know what I'm saying? And
understandably so.
And he's awkward about it too. And that becomes a cool thing, man. It comes cool, interesting dynamics, man. But it's also funny to see later on as they start to trust each other and she warms up to him. That's really cool, man, to watch that play out.
It was, and yet again, she is it's really awesome that she is also in this position where she takes her job very serious, not as serious as Overbeck does. I mean,
well, Overbeck is more gatekeeping type of serious. With her, it's just I want to do the mission, and she
as long as it gets done,
she realizes that he knows he might not be the best astronaut. But on the scientific level, where I think she connects with most, he's there. He's got it. You know what I'm saying? So,
and what really got him in her good graces is when he sung the Jiminy Cricket song to her. You see it all on the screen. You're like, oh yeah, he got her. Reel her in, coach. But I also liked what we got from Beau Bridges. Like he was, he played Bud Nesbitt, and he was the character who pretty much was being blamed for the failure of Apollo 13. And you see in the office, like everyone's treating him as such, especially what we're getting from Paul Wick, played by Jeffrey Dunham, who was the guy who was heading this mission. Every time Bud Nesbitt shows up in the room, they're like, man, just get out of here. Your advice don't matter. Your thoughts don't matter. We don't need you messing this up like you did Apollo 13. So it's really cool that with all this funny and all this other stuff we got going on, we also get a slight underdog story in him, because as the movie progresses,
he put Fred in the position for this mission. So
dude, Fred was going to quit. Fred was going to quit, and he actually coached him up and told him what was what. And then, as the film progresses, he's the one who also ends up having to, take control or take the head chair in the control center because, everybody else or what's his name, Paul Wick was not paying attention to the stuff that was going on. And he was putting, the success of the mission over the lives of the astronauts, where Bud was like, no, this is not going to happen on my watch twice.
Yeah, it's crazy because Jeffrey Dunn was also, who plays Paul Wick, was in those early seasons of Walking Dead. I think he was Dale. Was a beloved character in that series, and
really,
yeah. I just looked at him. I'm looking at his thing, and they're showing he looks different because in this film is probably 30 years before, but he's got now in Walking Dead he had the white mustache, but if you put a white beard on him, you definitely you can see it, man. Like that's him. It's crazy.
Before this slips my mind, both of these characters did go uncredited, but we will give them credit on this show because that's what we do. We put light on the dark. And so what is happening is Shelley Duvall plays Fred's mother, and what's his name? Gaylord Sartan played Fred's father. Both of them went uncredited for some reason.
I think also I'm looking at this cast. We've got Vern Troyer in here, and the only way I could think of is maybe he's playing the monkey during the moons the Mars sequences where they're walking. Maybe because I was like, yo, they had to train the hell out of that monkey to make him walk. All of this stuff, but now that I think about it, that was probably it was a human, and it was Vern Troyer playing the monkey. So that's crazy, bro.
Long before Mini-Me, right?
Yeah, it's crazy what you find out, man. But long story short, I think that is one of my favorite sequences too. Is like they get sent on this mission. They're going to Mars. And so the plan, it takes 8 months to get to Mars according to this, through their shuttle. So they're going to put everyone into a hypersleep. And I love this, man, because I don't know why you didn't just have all these sleep pods the same size. But the monkey accidentally gets into his pod. They're the last two to get in. Yeah. Everyone else is knocked out. So the monkey gets in his pod and activates, and he starts gassing him up because it's a gas that puts him to sleep. And he's banging on. He's like, "No, that's mine. That's mine." So then he tries to get into the monkey's pod, which is way too small, right? And he it can't seal. So initially he's knocked out, and then but the gas escapes, and he wakes up, and he's stuck for 8 months by himself. Yeah. It's kind of cool, man. I think it's one of the scenes that plays great on the Harlan Williams, tool set, as a comedic actor. Like it works so great. So he's got 8 months of trying to occupy himself. He's just doing everything that he can. And I think there's a part where he's doing all this shit, and it's like, yeah, it's only been like 2 hours, bro.
No, when he first wakes up, he was like, been asleep for 8 months, tries to wake everyone. He was like, yo, how long was I asleep? And the computer says 13 minutes. Yeah. And he was like, oh man. But dude, you're right, dude. This part is definitely hilarious because we're watching him just try to entertain himself. And like it brings you back to the isolation chamber. We saw that he was able to keep himself entertained for a day, but for 8 months, I mean, my man gets real creative. He starts like, cutting stuff out of the space blankets, drawing on a shirt. My man paints like almost like the Sistine Chapel on the top of the rocket, what I mean? But he's doing all of this using the food. So, yet again, we never lose sight of the fact that even though he is super smart in a lot of ways, he is not the brightest bulb in the set.
Man, it's crazy, man. And then I guess the last third of this thing is I would say maybe the last fourth, because it's more split up like that. It's them trying to figure out, they're stuck on Mars, things are going wrong, and they're trying to salvage the mission, man. And I love it because this is when the things kind of turn, man. Like what's my man's name? Wild Bill is actually. He's like, yo, we got to work together, and he's actually doing his part. It's still goofy because Fred is involved, but they're actually going about this, and they team up, with the monkey to try to, salvage this mission, and they actually pull it off, man. And it's kind of cool watching it go down. It still has its quirks, and there's some comedy beats, that are still thrown in there, but it's kind of cool, man.
What I like about it most is that when they first land on Mars, everything that Wild Bill has waited so long for in his career, and everything that he has aspired for and dreamed of, Fred is like accidentally snatching these away from him. Like, Wild Bill's supposed to be the first one out the ship on to Mars. Of course, Fred slips down the ladder. He lands on Mars first.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then, Wild Bill was supposed to plant the flag on Mars, and then Fred accidentally drops the flags, but coincidentally enough is wearing American flag boxer shorts. So he's like, all right, well, we got these. You know what I mean? It's like little stuff like that you just never lose sight of the fact that you are watching a film with serious undertones, but is not serious on any level.
Yeah, he's still all of Wild Bill's glory.
Yeah, all of his shine. I mean, even when they're on the space shuttle and the president calls in to interview Wild Bill, Fred comes out the cut half blue because he got sucked in the toilet and starts singing "I Got the Whole World in My Hands" in like multiple languages, all the way wrong. You know what I'm saying?
He had to be singing for like 20 minutes, bro. He hit every country in the world.
Yes, dude. And it's wild because they said that he improvised that, but the part where he was putting the French words together, he actually ended up saying in real French, "I am the butterfly on the table." So, when there's a will, there's a way. Yeah, but man. The outside of the great cast and characters that really kind of just push this movie along, the set pieces really kind of help this together, because I mean, when you look at it, I mean, we navigate through all these different situations, but I mean, it starts where we see Fred in the office, then we go into the NASA training facility, which was really cool. Then you go into you get your time on the spaceship, and then ultimately ending up on Mars, which is all of these different set pieces really just kind of help keep the story cohesive and help it push along in a timely fashion.
Yeah, it's interesting. There's no outside stuff. Like it all feels like this movie is 100% on set from the flashbacks in the beginning to I love the training facility stuff too. I was like, yo, what they did there with the little gravitron thing, and all the lab stuff. I was like, this looks good for this low budget film. Like it looked like they put, like at least the set designers, they did enough to make it look like it was shooting above its weight limit.
Yeah, it said that the filmmakers spent 9 weeks at the Johnson Space Center in Houston, Texas, shooting at the famous Rocket Park. So that's where they got
that. Was a real place. Like they actually shot it.
And then also at Building 32, which houses the world's largest thermal vacuum chamber and simulates all conditions of outer space except zero gravity. So they put themselves in the right places to really give it an authentic feel. And then also where they shot in Mars, it was for the shots in Mars, filmmakers shot in Moab, Utah, where they found giant cliffs, red rocks, and lack of vegetation, an overall scale of what could be a distant planet. And then, another thing that I like, just before it slips my mind too, is I like a lot of the the comedy that we get from Harlan Williams. I know we talked about him enough. This is his vehicle. This is his film. But I like they said that he did a lot of like improvising on set, like as this film was going through. And one thing that was just completely his total idea was when he first gets announced as the other astronaut that's going to be on the mission. It was scripted that he was just supposed to faint, and he convinced the director. He was like, "No, I want to scream like a young lady that just won a beauty pageant." You know what I'm saying?
That actually is a better reaction.
A better reaction, and he was actually quoted to say, he was like, "I knew I was on to something when I saw that scene in the trailer." You know what I mean? Because it is. I mean, every time I see that gets a belly laugh out of me.
That could be expected.
Yeah, but you ain't gonna see a grown man. I mean,
it's weird, man. I wonder what. Like, I feel like he could have had a run, like, but maybe because his character was so specific, it wasn't like, Harlan Williams in RocketMan. You know what I mean? Like, right? Because this the tone and feel of this is definitely reminds me of Ernest. Ernest Goes to Camp, Ernest Goes to Space, Ernest Goes to Jail, those kind of films. Yeah. And this seems like a continuation of that style of comedy, man. This stuff like this, you don't get these days, man. I haven't seen a space movie. Maybe, what was the one with Sigourney Weaver and them, where they were kind of mocking Star Trek? Galaxy Quest. I
Galaxy
really
Quest,
haven't seen a space comedy
and that was even.
since then.
I think that was still before 2000. We might be able to bring that up on the show.
Film, man.
That was a good film. And you're absolutely right. Like, I honestly, after seeing this, I thought that he was going to be the next in line for those style of films and on these different adventures. I mean, it could have started with space, but then, like you said, next it could be Fred Randall at camp or Fred Randall doing this, doing that, in an earnest like setting. But
I don't know. I just feel like this feel of a film is just gone, yo.
It really is.
Comedies now, they're more based on they're more like adult, like adult relationships, or look at all the hits we've got recently. There've been like Joy, Girls Trip, things
The
of that nature.
Stuff like that.
Like, there's no room for this kind of just silly,
because you gotta have that raunchy. If you gotta have the raunchy to it, that apparently now raunchy is funny, but it was wild because after this, I mean, you only see Harlan Williams and he's spot checked.
I loved him in Half Baked, man.
He was great in Spot Check. He was one of my favorite characters in Half Baked. So but the only other film that I remember seeing him right off gate while we're doing this is he was the cop that pulled over Lloyd and what's his name from Dumb and Dumber? What was it? Lloyd and Christmas, or I don't know.
Christopher Lloyd?
No, it was their names. I can't remember their damn names.
Oh yeah.
It was something in Lloyd.
What was that, like the Dumber and Dumber sequel?
No, it was Dumber and Dumber Part 1. When they're riding in the dog, he pulls over and he thinks that they're drinking, but my man was peeing in all the beer bottles, and he's like, "Yeah, give me some of that booze here," and he drinks the pee.
I haven't seen that in so long.
It's been a while for me too. That's why I can't remember. I can't remember both of their names. But and it's wild because you would have thought that he would have came more, but after this. But like you said, man, this is a rare breed of film. And what's also wild is that this pretty much broke even on a $16 million budget. It pulled back box office 15.4, but is a cult classic. Like, there are a lot of people that, hold this film very near and dear to their heart, with us included. But still is, as far as like a cash grab or making any kind of notable monies off of it, it was a flop for all intents and purposes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I really did what it did, man. I still like it, man.
Me too.
I would encourage you to check it out if you haven't, man. It's just a fun little, like I said, man, it's not fully fall out the chair funny, but you'll be smiling watching this. It's a feel good, kind of film right here, man.
Absolutely.
This is the type of stuff Disney was putting out before Marvel took over,
Exactly.
Before Marvel took over the space, and they just were making family, type entertainment.
Yeah,
man.
this is one, like you said, it's fun if you fly solo or on like a lighthearted date night or something like that, or get the family together, order some pizza, and just there's no vulgarness, there's no raunchiness. It's just lighthearted humor from beginning to end, but the funny doesn't stop. There is a joke being cracked or some kind of funny situation happening like every minute to 2 minutes in this film.
Yeah, man. RocketMan, 1997, folks, man. That's it for us, man. You can check us out on the next show. This has been Monk. Catch me at Monkey Blood on Twitter, Instagram. Follow us on at Classes of Cinematics on Instagram. That's where we get, the updates for when the new episodes and stuff come out. And tell your friends about us, man. Because we're not going nowhere, bro.
No.
You're going to find out about us, man. But the sooner the better. So they can check out this backlog, man. We got over 100 episodes now, man. You can put this on and just let it go.
Yeah. Use your inhibitions, man.
It don't cost you nothing but a little bit of time, man.
That's it. That's it, man. What better way to spend your time than with hanging out with us, watching us do this? You know what I'm saying? But yeah, this is Bobby Blockbuster. As always, you can catch me on the next show.
All right, folks, we out of here. Peace.